Sometimes it's good to go back to the basics. Hey everyone, Dylan Schumacher, Citadel Defense, and we're here today to talk about the world's greatest basic bitch rifle setup. Now, I call this my basic bitch rifle setup for a couple reasons. If I were to go back all over and build my first rifle, or when next time I help someone set up their first rifle or something like that, it's gonna be a setup similar to something like this. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, I think this is overall the best kind of basic rifleman setup for a rifle that I have found in my years of shooting. What does that mean? It means it is fully capable and functional at the most reasonable cost to performance ratio, right? Like you probably, if you're watching this channel, you have your Gucci gun set up, right? And if not, you're probably working on it, or you have a dream of what it would be or whatever. And you know, usually with ARs, what that means is we start adding on accessories, right? Cans, nice optics, fancy lights, good lasers, right? And thereby, by adding those accessories, we're adding capability to the gun. And that's all well and good and fine, and I hope that you have that, and those are wonderful, right? I love cans on rifles. I'm a huge, huge fan. But when it comes to kind of a basic capable rifle, right? The truth is you really don't need that much. The AR has been around for a very long time. And as such, you know, it's kind of got itself figured out in some degrees. So let's go through this and let's talk about the basic bitch rifle setup and why I set it up this way and what's helpful. If you're new here, we're Citadel Defense, right? So I make and design gear, and you can find that on my website, so I hope that you find that helpful. Now, when we're talking about rifles, we're talking about rifles in a Minuteman context, right? So I am assuming you have friends, and if you're like, hey Dylan, I don't have any friends, I'll be your friend. And so with this rifle, we're talking about being an everyday American Minuteman, right? And doing Minuteman type stuff. That doesn't just mean shooting on the flat range, right? That doesn't just mean training drills and skills by yourself, although those are wonderful, important things that you should definitely do. But this is really a rifle as part of a team. And so some of the things might play into that. So we'll talk about that as we get there. So real simple here, right? This is just a carbine length gas system. I have a Springco blue spring in here with an H2 buffer right now. Again, you know, if I was just building one of these to help someone for their first rifle, probably wouldn't get a little fancy on the springs and buffers, but I had them and I found that they work really well in this rifle as far as helping smooth the gun out, right? So I went with that. This is a Blue Force Gear tourniquet holder, and then this is a ratchet tourniquet that I tossed on there. I like the ratchet tourniquet on there because there's no Velcro like on a cat tourniquet. So when I'm holding the rifle and I'm moving stuff around, there's no Velcro here to rub on my arm or get caught on my arm, which can happen with the cat. So I usually don't put cat tourniquets on the rifle here anymore because they scratch my arm or catch on gear or whatever, and I'm just not a fan of that. So big fan of the ratchet tourniquets here, also a fan of the soft T wide tourniquets, because again, no Velcro. This is some super old piece that I've had for a very long time that allows me to put a QD thing in here. But if that didn't exist, I'd have to put something here so I could QD into the receiver. I'm a huge fan of the 2-point sling being QD'd at both ends of the receiver. This gun, you've probably seen this gun before. This gun started out as my iron sights only gun, and it turns out I can't do that. I don't care. I always want an optic on the damn thing, so that's how we got here, and that's how I accidentally discovered the greatest setup of a basic bitch rifle ever. BCM bolt, BCM charging handle, because, you know, I wanted to build a quality basic rifle, so that's where we're at. The trigger, incidentally, by the way, is also BCM. It's a PSA lower, but we went with the BCM trigger because I swapped my BCM trigger out to put a fancy trigger in my other gun, and so that ended up here. And now that gets us to the heart of the system. One of the things that makes it such a wonderful basic bitch setup, which is the iron sight carry handle, which by the way, someone mentioned that I put this too far back. You were right, I guess I did do that, but I'm not bumping it forward because it's zeroed now. So that's just gonna live like that. The carry handle iron sight setup, which is rock solid, right? Because that's never ever going anywhere, to have your rear sight here and then the FSB up front. And then putting the dot on top. And what I really like about that is a couple things. One, when I'm putting that rifle up, my head stays mostly level, right? You can be the judge. I dip my head probably a little bit to get behind the gun, right? But that is behind the optic. That's behind the iron sights. Optic, iron sights. Optic, iron sights. And what I like about that is it's right there, right? I'm not having to do any weird like twisty thing or whatever, or flip something up or adjust something. I'm in the optic and now I'm in the iron sights. All you gotta do is dip your head. And I really like that. I like it because it's bomb-proof, it's idiot-proof. It's just, again, you're just shifting your head down just a little bit and you're getting the most robust iron sights imaginable with the carry handle, right? And the FSB. And then, you know, you have an optic mount on top. Now I have a Sig Sauer Romeo 5. I really like that optic for the money. It's probably the best optic there is. I'm a big fan of that. You could put your T2 up here, right? You could put whatever. You can, this is a Battle Steel mount up here that I have. They make ones for the Trijicon MRO, right? So you can put different optics up there that are gonna mount in that hole in that carry handle. And then, you know, you can put whatever you want up there and do whatever you need to. But I really like having that optic up top because again, it puts it up higher. My head gets to stay more, I want to say level, but what I mean is I don't need to dip it into the gun, right? I don't need to go nose to charging handle to get down in the gun. I can keep my head up and I can keep my eyes up, and I just think that makes for easier shooting. It also, coincidentally, is more compatible with night vision. Now, I've done videos on this before. I'm a big fan of just using lasers, and I think passive aiming is kind of whatever. That being said, if I had to use this gun at night, for whatever reason, under nods, for whatever reason, I could probably make it work, right? I mean, I could turn the optic way down and I could probably passive aim through here because it's up high enough that I'm gonna be able to get the tube behind there, and that's just helpful. So this setup right here, this sight setup, I'm just a big fan of for a variety of reasons. It allows you to get the basics of what you need. We put optics on guns because we can see better, it makes life easier. So you should do that, right? And again, if this is someone's first rifle or you just need a basic rifle to cover the basics, this will help a lot. And then, you know, for those of you out there who are like, well, you need backup irons. Well, I have them. So that's nice too, and it doesn't cost you anything. In fact, it assists with getting a higher plane, getting the optic up higher, right? Which is nice. And then it allows you to have those irons that are right there. So I belabored that point enough, thank you. I think you get the picture, really big fan of that. BCM handguard, because it was on sale when I bought it, turns out I actually really like it. Now, this is just a sling, QD sling in here, Magpul sling. I did add this Magpul foregrip thing. And the reason for that is if you go out and do any kind of patrolling, again, imagine Minuteman type stuff here, when you just don't have that and you have to grip up here and carry your rifle like that, my microphone was magnetized there. It magnetized to the gun, so sorry about that. But you just have to carry a rifle like this the whole time. Your wrist gets tired. It sucks. It's horrible. So you almost have to have one of these up here because just carrying this like this with your hand here, massively more comfortable. And again, if you're going to walk this thing for 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever miles, that thing is a massive comfort increase. Usually when I'm shooting it, I'm probably gonna grab it up here. I could grab it kind of here-ish, right? You don't grab it like that because this is in the 1990s. But you can grab it up here. But when I'm carrying it, I'm gonna carry it right there, right? Massively more comfortable. Up here, this is a Battle Steel front sight block Picatinny rail. Now it does have a QD slot in here, so I could QD into that, which is cool. It had it on both sides, obviously, but you know, don't have that anymore. That being said, I like that I can put Picatinny up here. That's cool. I put my light up here because then, you know, I can reach the light, right, from up on the gun. So that's, can you see that? Yeah. Maybe go this way so you can see it, right? So I can reach it easy. That's nice. Then it's mostly out of the way. It doesn't interfere with my hand grip. I used to have this light back here on this M-LOK slot, but it cramped my hand and it didn't allow me to get a good purchase on the gun. And if I'm going to be, you know, mostly planning, hopefully, I don't know, using the gun during daytime or whatever, I'd rather have a comfortable grip on the gun most of the time, and then I can just reach for the light when I need it, right? Just reach a thumb up, rather than having my hand cramped and then the light being right there. So you might not care about that. You might just mount it right here and be happy. But I really like putting the light as far forward as possible as well, because then of course I get less barrel shadow. And that's really nice. 16-inch barrel because 16 inches slaps, right? I mean, that really, you are getting, not the most out of the round, you gotta get to 20 inches to do that, but you're getting a very significant velocity out of that round out of a 16-inch barrel. When we start dropping below 16-inch, right, and we go to the 14.5 and the 13.7, and hey, don't get me wrong, I like shorter guns, and when it comes to putting lights and lasers and all that stuff on there, I like to cut weight somewhere, so usually that means the barrel length. That being said, 16 inches, if you're just gonna have a basic bitch setup, is gonna slap, right? So I want the most power out of that round I can have, because why wouldn't I? And then we have an A2 bird cage up top. Now there are two reasons that I really like the A2, well, three. One, the A2 bird cage is probably the best muzzle device, unless you have a muzzle device for a suppressor, there is. I mean, the price to performance ratio is hands down the best one. No, that's not even a question. But even if you take price out of it, it's really good. I mean, it's really good at doing its job. And so the A2 is a very, very good muzzle device. And the only reason, in my personal opinion, you should ever change that is if you want to mount a can on it. You know? And now there are other cans that, of course, will mount to A2s now, which is really cool. I don't own any of those. But that being said, I think the A2 is a winner. The other two reasons I like the A2 is, first of all, bayonet, right? So now, do you really need a bayonet? No, I suppose not. But one, it looks cool, it's very fierce, and being able to, if you're just gonna have a basic rifle setup anyway, being able to mount a bayonet on the rifle, that's just a nice extra capability, right? You should be carrying a blade on your Minuteman kit anyway, and then if you have the ability to make it into a bayonet, well, all the more the better, right? Are bayonets primary to me? No, not by a long shot. But since I have this setup, since it's there anyway, why not take it? It's free, right? So I like that. That's cool. The other thing that I think is cool is it also allows you to put in a blank fire adapter. Now, if you're like, hey Dylan, what's a blank fire adapter and why would I ever need one of those? Well, what a blank fire adapter is it allows you to fire blanks through your rifle. Now, the reason you would need to do that is for training purposes, right? So if you go to a Miles class, such as a One Shepherd or SNS Training Solutions, or maybe there are others out there that I don't know, you will need a blank fire adapter, right? And they'll put a little Miles system on your gun, and then your gun can run blanks. Because what a blank fire adapter does is it provides enough back pressure in the barrel for the gun to cycle into blanks, otherwise the gun won't cycle. The other thing is when you and your friends start running more FTX-oriented training things, utilizing blanks, well, now you can do that, right? Now, if you're like, Dylan, nobody does that. I mean, yeah, I don't do that. Well, maybe you should start. And maybe you should start putting yourself in a position to train better and use different tools. And what I'm telling you is with this basic bitch rifle setup, you can do all of that, right? You can have the bayonet, you can have the option to put in a blank fire adapter to run blanks and do FTXs and trainings with your boys that involve blanks. Be creative, you know, figure it out, be safe, all that stuff. But I think that there is a lot of capability, and we're talking about cost of the overall gun to performance of the overall gun. I don't know if it gets better than this, right? Now, I used a bunch of BCM stuff in here, right? So this one is a more mid-tier workhorse, that's what I'm trying to say, workhorse version of the gun, but you could make this a PSA build, right? I mean, the carry handle's PSA, right? Like almost all the parts here could be of a cheaper build. And I just think this general setup is the best capability to cost ratio you're gonna find because of all the reasons that I enumerated, right? It allows you to have the dual sight system. It allows that light to be there and out of the way. By the way, it's a Surefire light with a homemade scope cap. If you're interested in that at all. It allows the bayonet, it allows the A2, not the flash hider, the blank fire adapter, the BFA. So it gives me all the things I need that if I had to go out and patrol with this rifle, if I had to go out and fight with this rifle, if I had to do actual things with this rifle, or just train a bunch, I can do that, right? It's gonna be a reliable, functional rifle setup for not the most money as compared to start putting on cans or whatever. Now, if you get to that point and you want to start upgrading, you wouldn't have to ditch this whole thing, right? You can put a can on here. You could take this handguard out and put a free-floating Midwest Industries makes a free-floating four-sided Picatinny, the cheese grater rail that you can put in here. You can start mounting your laser on that. Or I plan on just mounting my laser right there, so that'll make my life a lot easier, right? So there are a lot of different options that allow you to grow with the gun. But honestly, I'd probably just tell you to get a new one, a gun, and just leave this one as it is, because I think that it's so capable. It stays pretty light for what it is, which again, when you're thinking about humping that rifle over a couple miles, that matters. Now, in general, my main squeeze is very heavy, and it just sucks, and I just deal with it because I like the can and the laser and the lights and all the other Gucci's I have on there, right? But I went out and did a training exercise with this the other day with the boys a couple weeks ago, and I got to hump this thing around for a couple hours, and it was really nice. It was really nice to be able to carry a lighter gun, but still knowing I have lots of capability. So that's it. That's my push for the Basic Bitch rifle setup. I hope that you set up your rifle to be a Basic Bitch rifle, because just because it's basic doesn't mean it isn't good. I hope that's helpful. I hope that gives you some ideas. Do brave deeds and endure.